call the meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone and thank everyone for coming tonight. As well, welcome to everyone who's watching online and who watches the recording at a later date. First item is, and most importantly, we want to acknowledge the land upon which we gather is the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq, and we pay our respects to the Indigenous Mi'kmaq people of this territory, past, present, and future. Second item on the agenda is a declaration of conflict of interest. If any councillor or staff member, anyone around the table, has a conflict of interest on any of the items that we're going to be discussing here tonight, please declare so now. If not, we'll move on to the next item, which is approval of the agenda. And we have a presentation from the floor, and I would entertain a motion to move item 6 to item 4, if that's so moved.
Second it.
Second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and that's the agenda is approved with that change. So now, I guess it's my great pleasure to introduce Abigail McCarthy. She is the 2024 recipient of the Town of Stratford Artist Bursary. The bursary is for $1,000 to assist in continuing arts education. Abigail is a multi-talented Stratford artist. Just a few of her skills are singing, dancing, modeling, and playing music. Abby has been dancing for 12 years and has received numerous awards, even overcoming a medical condition that prevented her from dancing for some time. After much perseverance and determination and continuing support from her family, Abby was able to dance again. Along with her talent in dance, Abby also excels in music as a singer and as a musician. She plays 4 instruments and performs professionally. In 2023, Abby was a runway model for New York Fashion Week. Wow. Abby's aspirations include training with the National Ballet School of Canada, joining Ballet Jorgen Ballet, and teaching. In time, Abby would like to open her own dance studio and pass along her love and passion for dance to the next generation. Congratulations, Abigail, and we wish you every success. It's my pleasure to present this bursary to you. Oh, yeah, with that. Yeah. And Jill, would you like to get in this picture as well? You're the chair of the Arts and Culture Committee, so it was Jill's committee, Jill Chandler, who chose the recipient of this award. So. Got it?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
Great meeting you.
Yes, you as well. As much as they might live and also this event,
I'll do it.
thank you. I can keep them if you want.
Oh, yeah. Certainly keep them entertained. Riveting. See you. I also neglected to recognize RCMP Constable Alan McGrath. Thank you very much for coming tonight, Constable, and we'll be speaking later during the Safety Services report. Councillor Jackson will be calling on you to answer any questions or whatever, but thanks a lot for coming. Appreciate it, and thanks for everything you do to keep us all safe. Next item on our agenda are the minutes of our regular council meeting of the 14th of February 2024. Does anyone notice any errors or omissions in the minutes? Anything that needs to be changed? If not, I'll entertain a motion for approval of those minutes. Thank you. Second. Thank you. Second. Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Motion carried. Any business arising from the minutes that we won't be discussing here tonight? Maybe we'll just take a quick look to make sure that there's nothing in there that anyone wants to follow up on. Okay, if there's nothing, we'll move on to next item. We've already done item number 6. So we'll go to my report. It's in your package. Just give a couple of highlights. We had a great meeting with our 2 MLAs, Burridge and Redmond, to discuss town issues and priorities, including opportunities for partnering with the provincial government in the areas of infrastructure, housing, and affordability for town residents. And I think one of the big items of discussion was the wellness center and how we can move forward with getting that project underway and completed. Yesterday, I participated in a day-long workshop to look at the challenges and opportunities for immigrants in our community and in the island as a whole, and very interesting information, statistics, and analysis that was provided by Immigrant and Refugee Services Association, IRSA, and great discussions in the afternoon about some of the real big issues facing immigrants and newcomers to our island. Winterfest, that was a great success again this year, I think, Councillor Chandra will be speaking more about that, I'm sure, in her report, so I won't say a lot about that, but just to say that it was a great success, and congratulations to everyone who contributed to that, especially the youth from the youth center. They really added a lot to many of our events, so it was great to see that come off with, after so long, to have a festival like that, especially the pancake breakfast. That was, I think, really appreciated by an awful lot of people. We have had a couple of meetings on the town budget, and I thank all the council and staff who worked so hard to bring us to the point where we'll be able to present the town budget tomorrow evening at a public meeting, I believe at 6:30, and it's in this room here. Yeah, so I really encourage anyone who's able to attend that meeting to come out and give us your input. There was a week-long meeting that was held of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, which I'm a board member and vice chair of the Finance, Infrastructure, and Transportation Committee. It was held in Prince George, BC, but I attended virtually, and it was a week-long meeting. So each day there were different meetings: the rural caucus and the actual Finance, Infrastructure, and Transportation Committee, Committee of the Whole. There were quite a few meetings, but they were already beneficial. Basically, the big topic of discussion was the municipal growth framework, which means really across the country, municipalities are struggling to have enough revenue to deliver the programs and services that their residents need, and really to keep them safe and healthy. Shape Stratford, it's the last month of that project. It's winding down, but we had 2 meetings of the Intermunicipal Committee, and an agreement was reached to continue on with the Intermunicipal Committee to get together with leaders of the major municipalities in our area to discuss common issues and look for solutions to some of the issues that we're all facing. The community campus wellness center, we had a couple of meetings to discuss the development and future construction of that facility, and So that is now going to be moving forward, and there will be some more discussion about that tomorrow night at the budget presentation. Oh, the 55-plus Winter Games, another great success. That was I was had the honor of addressing the group and also at the closing luncheon. So it was a really great bunch of people, and it was really another great success. We met with Meals on Wheels representative along with Councillor Jackson and CAO Crosby to discuss expanding that service in Stratford. I think it's, along with Councillor Cox, I was very honored to attend the International Women's Day Luncheon to honor the 5 Ocean 100 Women of Impact. But I think also all women who contribute so much in our society and to this council. I really appreciate having a female voice on our council, and it'd be great to have more, and encourage any woman who's listening or considering it to consider running for council and get involved in community, because your voice matters, and it really adds a lot to decision making and some of our other challenges. So that's my report. We had meetings. It was really great meetings with all town councillors to discuss priorities for their ward, their portfolios, and their ideas for better serving our residents. So that's I think that's a really it's been a really good month, and really appreciate everyone's contribution. I think we're moving ahead. Really happy with a lot of the progress we made this month. Any questions or comments on my report? If not, we'll go to Chief Administrative Officer Crosby and ask for his report. I understand Councillor Cox is now online. Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, it's great to have everybody here. So, Councillor Cox is out of province right now, but it's great to have him attending this meeting. Sorry for the interruption, Jeremy.
No problem. Thanks, Your Worship. My report is in your package, and just go over a few of the highlights. Attended a meeting with the environmental sustainability coordinator to discuss upcoming projects and initiatives prior to her going out on maternity leave. Happy to say that Maddie had her baby on February 29th. William Thomas Stewart and mom and baby are doing very well, so glad to hear that.
Great.
Attended a meeting with Staff Council and Pace Atlantic regarding the wrap-up with the Stratford program, and I'll also be conducting an interview with them about the program and the successes and what could be changed or what needs to be changed in the future, but very successful program, and hopeful that we'll have something in the future. Attended a meeting with the Mayor, Deputy CAO, Director of Finance, and of the MLAs for Stratford regarding our budget. We did a bit of a presentation with them and looked at what is the possible avenues for funding for our new community campus health and wellness facility. Recently participated in a meeting with the Deputy CEO and Minister Stephen Myers. We discussed environmental and sustainability measures for the new community campus. Specifically, we talked about the possibility of incorporating a solar field and other energy producing facilities within that area so we can meet our campus net zero predictions. Attended a meeting with the planning staff and Department of Transportation and developers regarding possible development on the Trans-Canada Highway. It's in the initial stages, could be quite exciting. Participate in the orientation with the new environmental sustainability coordinator that will be filling in for Maddie, Kadaf Ajiz, and they're doing very well so far. They're in the doing the water school right now, but she's doing a great job. And attended a meeting with representatives from Chance's Family Center to discuss the possible expansion of their facility. We did have a discussion with them previously at council, but they come back with another option that will be discussed at a future committee of the whole meeting. In addition to that, took care of day-to-day business and reviewed a lot of our bylaws and policies to make sure we're in compliance with the Municipal Government Act and any other regulations. So any questions on my report?
No, just thanks for all the good work. It's been a great month.
Busy month, but
Yeah, very busy.
yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
exciting things happen. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the next item, number 9. I'll ask Councillor Jody Jackson, Chair of the Safety Services Committee, to give his report.
Thank you, Your Worship. The last Safety Services meeting, committee meeting was held on February 21st. We do plan to meet again this Monday, the 18th. I'll just give a little recap of our last meeting from February. So a report from the fire company, so we had some information about recent CO2 alarms going off, and so we want to remind folks, take those seriously. If your CO2 alarm is making, it's beeping or making noises, you know, make sure, open the windows and just make sure it's working properly. Generally, when those go off, there is an issue, and there was one this past month where, you know, the folks had kind of heard it, thought maybe it wasn't functioning properly, but came home again and it was tested and it was significantly over the threshold. So again, if there's CO2 alarms going off in your home, take it seriously, open the windows, and if it's if necessary, call the fire company. Also in the meeting, we heard just a call to encourage apartment building owners and condo associations to arrange to make sure that the fire company has keys to the alarm panels for their properties, and so that they have access in emergency situations. We know they do have keys to most of them, but you know, it's important that those inventories are up to date, so just in case they do need to access the panels. Another item brought up by the fire company is around barbecues on apartment patios, so just a reminder, those aren't allowed. And we all remember Harley Street in Charlottetown there, the fire, and show what can happen with, you know, fires beginning in apartment buildings. So just along with the, during that meeting, we had a report from the RCMP looking back at January. They had 8 check stops in January with a focus on key areas of speeding complaints. We'll get to those a little bit more in our report for this month. Just wanted to, and I talk about E-Watch at every meeting, but this is kind of a brag moment. Yeah, there was a couple of incidents on the bridge last month. One, fortunately, was not an issue. The other one, and I'm not sure if Constable McGrath knows or Corporal Weatherby, but the cameras did actually alert them to someone who was in distress and did likely save their life. So I think it just speaks to the importance of these cameras and the investment that government and the town and the local business community are going to make in those. They worked as intended, and so just a good news story there. Street lighting, the committee has recommended lighting in a couple of new areas. 2 new lights in Clifton Road. We had talked about, it's kind of a dark area in there between the church and the outdoor rink. So it's going to be a safety enhancement. We're going to have those added in there. There's a walking path there, and it's, especially as we grow towards the campus, there's going to be a lot of folks walking through there. So it's nice to have that well lit. Another item around street lighting is 13 additional streetlights that we're looking at for Beacon Hill subdivision, or the Beacon Hill area. That will bring it up to standard with the town's current street lighting policy. So that's in the areas of McLaughlin, Browns, Governors, and Beacon Hill, and they're all, I think, 44 watt. Maybe I'm getting that wrong. 43 watt LEDs. So they won't be obnoxious, but they'll be. It's important to bring that area up to the current standard. Lastly, from that meeting, we had just some concern from committee members around the clearing of snow at the T3 bus shelters. So, you know, fortunately it's spring now, it's becoming spring, and it's not as much of an issue, but it's something we need to look at for going into next winter, and that is a responsibility of the provider. So just wanted to let everyone know that we are aware that there were some snow issues there, and we're going to address that. So that's the minutes of our last meeting. If I may call on Constable McGrath for the RCMP report for this month. we'll move on to that. So the report is in your package. So it's great to see, I think there's a map in there that we looked at. So talk about January and the great coverage we had from the RCMP around targeted enforcement in certain areas. Again, in February, we had some really good indicators that the broad coverage across our town. One of the things, I guess, apparent from that map is, you know, we could probably use a little more on the south side of the Trans-Canada Highway and the kind of subdivision areas in Ward 2. See, there's a lot around the highway, and of course, they're not, you know, the high-speed areas, but just to make sure that they're being seen everywhere, I would kind of encourage that. 17 collisions in February. Obviously, it's winter, and there's some icy roads and different things. Fraud and mischief, we're still seeing gas and dash and some noise. So just kind of standard, but again, the price of gas and economic climate out there, it's causing some folks to make some bad choices. We did have 2 impaired driving charges laid in this last month. Is there anything for Constable McGrath that anyone would like to ask specifically that's not, I haven't addressed? No? Okay. Anything you would like to say, Constable McGrath, or you? Yeah, come on right over.
Is it turned on, Steve? Yep.
No, I have nothing to add to that. If anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to take the concerns back to management.
Have you, just one question. I know that Charlottetown put an allocation in their budget for photo radar. Do you have any idea in terms of any information about whether you think that might be coming? You've got the provincial government maybe taking some action to enable that. I know that there was some legislation being considered, but just wondered if you heard anything about that, or the RCMP is aware of anything about photo radar.
We have been updated on it. I'll let management get back to you on that, sir, to fully update you on it properly. I wouldn't want to speak out of turn on it, but there has been an update this week on it.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Okay, be good to hear, because I guess from my perspective, it's something that I've been advocating for a long time, that it's really the only solution, I think, to speeding, you know, like, because you guys can't be everywhere. But anyway, that'd be good to get that information. Thank you.
Okay, I'll have either Corporal Weatherby or Sergeant Doyle get back to you on the update we received this week.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions? Corporal McGrath?
Thank you, Constable McGrath. Appreciate it, and appreciate all your work in the community and your fellow members.
Yeah,
really
thanks very much for everything you do.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And thanks a lot for coming tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Just on the Humane Society report, it's in your package. Fairly standard report, a couple of bites that broke the skin, but no, not too much other than that. Is that the owl?
Yeah, that's the owl.
So yes, a couple of bites. Any questions on the Humane Society report? I don't know, just keep an eye out for pit bulls in the Confederation Trail if you're out there. It's not just ATVs that are bad. Anyway, sorry.
So is there any charges or anything from the bites?
Nothing that I'm aware of, unless Jeannie has any information on that.
It's not something that typically happens.
Yeah.
You know, it's a sort of out of.
I didn't see any impounding or anything. Any.
Couple of bites or
Dog bites.
skin.
I didn't think that was in the, I thought that was in a year to date, but not in the last month.
Oh.
Was it?
That's on me then if I didn't get that right.
No, not that I'm aware there was charges.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie. Sorry about that. Transit, if we move the transit report, I'm trying to be quick this evening. So again, incredible numbers in February. We're seeing continued growth in our transit. An average of 249 riders a day. I know we've got some more runs and additional resources there, but it's great to see continued growth. Previous high was February of 2020 at 177 a day, so we're 72 more a day over that. Again, great news. And anything, Jeremy, any more on transit? We're just continued good work.
The consultant has submitted the draft strategic plan to us, and that's going to the committee actually on Monday evening for some comments. I think there is going to be another public consultation with regard to that as well, but we are getting closer to having that plan finalized, which, you know, should give us pretty good guidance into the future. Transit is really taking off, but we do want to look at our areas here to make sure that we do cover off service to some of the areas like sections of Ward 3 that are not covered now, and you know, how we can have some internal transit within the community as well. So looking forward to that plan. Other than that, I think things are going quite well.
Great, they are. Any questions on transit while Jeremy's
I do.
there?
Just one quick question. So, great to see the increase in numbers. Wondering if our partner communities are seeing similar increases in their jurisdictions, if you know.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are. Charlottetown for sure. The transit buses, mainly on the main routes, are packed to capacity, and sometimes they have to send a second bus along just to keep up with the amount of traffic that's going along there, pedestrian traffic. So, yeah, every community has seen an uptick for sure.
Great. Okay. Great.
Thank you, Jeremy. So that is it for transit. The last thing I'll discuss here is the fire company report. So the report is in your package. 19 calls in February, and again, kind of in line with the RCMP report, there were 6 MVAs they were called to, 4 medical first response, 3 fire alarms, a couple of fire alarms with no fire, and a CO2 incident, which I mentioned earlier, and 1 rescue on the bridge. That one, I think the one that they've attended probably was the one that was unfounded. But again, they're always there ready to respond. The last thing I'll talk about in the fire company, something just came up this week. We had a meeting on Monday night. It's just a heads up, the auto crash detection on cell phones, so Apple and I think Android all have that. So it's meant to alert the authorities if you are in a crash, but if you drop your phone or falls down the stairs, you get 15 seconds, I think, to deactivate it. So it's just something to be aware of out there. There's been a few calls to the fire company. They will always respond. They you know, for sure will always respond to those, but I think 2 of them are in the same, maybe the same person. But just a heads up that these mobile devices they're very helpful, especially if we were in a serious crash, but they can also send the wrong message if you know, if your phone slides across the seat. So it's just something they're keeping an eye on. It hasn't been an issue. They're just something they want to flag.
So how does that work? Is it the phone automatically calls 911 or something?
Yeah, it asks you, and if you don't respond within that certain amount of time, it will, and it'll give your location. I don't know. I think it'll send them all. I think it'll send all. My understanding is it'll send a message to fire and police and ambulance all at once, and so you know, it's a great thing if it works properly. But it's if phones do fall, I know that the fire chief was one who said his fell, and luckily he was able to turn it off in time. So that's my report, Your Worship. If there's any other questions.
Okay, any
If not, I'll
comments or
move on.
questions? Any comments or questions?
Thank you.
Got an easy ride tonight.
Thanks. That's good.
Thank you very much for your report, Councillor.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, we'll now move on to Recreation, Culture and Events. The Chair of that committee is Councillor Jill Chandler. I'll ask her to give her report.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Recreation, Culture and Events Committee met on Thursday, March 7th. We did not reach quorum, although we did have great discussion in regards to the development of the community campus, and staff also provided an overview of recreation, cultural, and youth center programs. The youth center entered 3 teams in the Bowl for Kids' Sake event. Youth Center hosted its annual walkathon last Friday. 4 teams had members walking for 24 hours straight around the town gym center. Special thank you to everyone who contributed to this event. I know Many of my fellow councillors made contributions in the fundraising. A special thank you to Councillor Ron Dowling, who brought the walkers food and drinks. Very kind, Councillor Dowling. And in regards to the fundraising, the Youth Centre has raised just over $5,300 thus far. And I wanted to highlight that the GoFundMe campaign is still open and is open until Monday. So if you wanted to encourage anyone else to contribute to this great cause, I'd ask you to do so. The annual Stratford Winterfest took place, as we know, in February at the Stratford Town Centre. The three-day event saw hundreds of Stratford and area residents visit the facility to participate in a wide array of events and activities. Thank you to the staff and especially the Youth Centre members for their many hours of planning and volunteering. It was great to see the return of the Lions Club Pancake Breakfast. I was there, and it was well attended and delicious. The town would also like to acknowledge the team at Fox Meadow for hosting several outdoor activities on their now year-round property. It was wonderful to see, and certainly I hope that that relationship continues to grow. Arts and culture, we had the registration for spring adult and youth art programming opened on March 4th. Programs will take place at the Town Centre, Gertrude Cotton Centre, and online as well, and the description of the available courses is in your package. As the Mayor mentioned, the PEI 55+ Games was hosted in Stratford in February with programming at the Town Centre, Stratford Emergency Service Centre, Pownell Sports Centre, and Montague Curling Club. Thank you to the PEI 55+ Games for selecting Stratford, and a big thanks to Rachel Arsenault for her many efforts on planning and scheduling this event in coordination with the host committee members. Town is set to open registration for the spring recreation season and will soon release details of the summer program offerings. Summer camp will be offered out of the Stratford Youth Centre for July and August. Registration will open April 2nd. The gymnasium continues to see great numbers. As far as rental times, there's no rental times available until mid-April. Fitness area and walking track continue to see about 125 people daily. And in spring planning, it's underway for outdoor spaces, parks, and sports fields. The town is planning ahead in the event spring comes a little earlier and is in the process, I believe, we'll be hiring more staff and youth staff, et cetera. So I think that concludes my report for now, unless there are any questions.
Very busy month.
It was a busy month.
Yeah.
And I have to say, again, I'm just so impressed with the, work of the staff and also the just impressive things that the Youth Centre and its members accomplish. We had the privilege of speaking with Dwayne Pino on Ocean 100 and just his passion and his deep connection to the community from the time he was a child, and being here to kind of continue that is impressive and admirable and deserves a little shout out. So yeah, does anybody have any questions regarding the report?
Not a question, Councillor, but I just wanted to say the Winterfest was an excellent weekend here in Stratford. I know my family really took advantage of it, and I know a lot of other families did too, so kudos to the entire Recreation Department.
And I'm the same way as with Councillor McDonald. Kudos to everybody involved, and I was in here every day, participating, and it was a great job by everybody, and especially bringing back the breakfast in the morning there. That was nice to see that come together, and
Yeah.
see our community members, out talking and so on, and also bringing Fox Meadows on. You said earlier that was a great piece for the Winterfest weekend. It was nice to see that, and they were sold out everywhere, and so it was good that way. So all in all, it was great to see that. And we had snow.
Yes, we did. And I think, and I've said this in other settings, the pancake breakfast for me is a great reminder of just the benefits we see when we bring, people together of all ages. So there was families, young children, just such a broad section of our community in attendance for that breakfast. I love to see those things.
I think one of the really positive things about it is that in the dark days of winter, it is an opportunity for recreation and gets people outside and gets them, as you said, social.
Yes.
Gets them to be able to see their neighbors and their friends and
Yes.
and get together. And it's it helps the winter go by, but it's also really good, mentally, physically, and every other way, because you really have a great opportunity to do something other than worry about how bad the winter is. And
It's
look
true.
at the snow coming down, so it's great.
It's true. Yes, the opportunity for connection, I guess. is-
Just on another subject, I'm not sure if this is recreation or not, but just want people to know that we have been engaged on the child care issue here in Stratford, and we will assist, provincial authorities to resolve that, and private operators. We're going to work, help, be there to assist in any way we can. So we'll be having, getting together, hopefully meetings in the next little while to hopefully be able to help put together a plan or some actions or whatever that we can encourage others and also be there to assist in any way we can. But it is a big issue. Sorry, Gordy, go ahead.
Can I add something there? Sorry, please you're done.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that okay?
Yes.
I'm not sure if Joe mentioned or not, but we had a under 18 team from our area that won the provincial championships. It was a friend on the date here. It was in January. We already talked about that name. We already have. But there was a Connor Bruce from Stratford is a member of that team, and they went out to nationals, and they ended up winning 4 games and lost 4, and they were 13th out of 21 teams. So I just wanted to give a shout out to one of our Stratford residents and proud parents, Stephen and Diane Bruce.
That's great, Gordy, thank you.
Thanks.
Councillor Cox, sorry.
And I guess, and I meant to mention this, and perhaps we've already in other settings, but of course the Special Olympics took place, and we had great success from PEI, including the son of one of our own staff, Charlie's son.
Yeah, he won
So-
2 golds and a silver or something like that?
Yeah, so big congrats to
Yeah,
them.
yeah, it's great.
So now we will move on to the resolution, is that right?
Yeah, there's a resolution. It is, go ahead.
So, this is the Town of Stratford Resolution Number RC 002-2024, Community Campus Naming Rights, Sponsorship, and Donation Policy. It is moved by myself. And do I need a seconder now? No.
We'll
Okay.
get the seconder after.
All right,
after
thank you.
it's-
Whereas the Town of Stratford strives to foster an environment that promotes creativity, boldness, and the pursuit of excellence in cultural experiences, public access to those experiences, and the preservation and enhancement of diverse cultural identities. The municipality recognizes that recreation, sport, arts, and culture all contribute to the quality of life of its citizens and to the enjoyment of visitors. Further, it understands that a strong and vibrant cultural environment promotes a shared sense of identity. And whereas the town understands the financial impact to offer meaningful facilities, spaces, and amenities require significant financial investment, and whereas an important aspect of generating financial support often comes from the generosity of residents, organizations, and corporations, which provides a framework and funding for developing and incorporating new facilities, spaces, and amenities that contributes to the social, economic, and environmental quality of life of our citizens. And whereas the Town of Stratford has developed the community campus sponsorship, donation, and naming rights policy that outlines the processes for accepting sponsorship and donations, along with providing naming rights to individuals, organizations, and/or corporations. Therefore, be it resolved that the attached community campus naming rights, sponsorship, and donation policy be hereby adopted. And please note, this resolution bears the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole as discussed at a meeting held on February 28th, 2024. Yes.
Okay, do I have a seconder? I think Jody might have got there first, sorry. Okay, all right, discussion. Is there anything in the policy that anyone would like to comment or question?
I don't know how you want to handle it. I'll just say two things. I think this will allow us to pursue opportunities to make sure anything that we are looking to attach a name to, we can better afford that initiative. So I think that's a positive thing. And I also think that the way that this is laid out will allow us to have lots of eyes on any potential naming of any town assets. And so I think it'll be a good opportunity as well to really reinforce some of the history of the town, as well as contribute to the town's overall culture, so long as we do it right. And I think this policy will allow us to make those right decisions. So I'm certainly in support.
I just want to clarify, Councillor, this is not the, like the naming policy for streets and that sort of thing.
Nope, it's for
the
town
community
assets.
campus.
Yep.
Yeah,
Which
okay.
I lumped under town assets.
Okay,
I
that's
would
great,
say,
thank
yeah.
you. Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Thank you. I'm sorry, Councillor Cox, I didn't ask you for any comments. Did you have any comments on the policy?
Fully agreement, that's great.
Okay, great, so unanimous, thank you. Motion carried. Okay, yeah, thank you very much for your report. Next item on the agenda is Finance and Technology. I'll ask the chair of that committee, Councillor Ron Dowling, to give his report.
Thank you, Worship. The Finance and Technology Committee held its regular monthly meeting on February 21st. The minutes, unapproved minutes from that meeting have been circulated in council package. And I'll open the floor if there's any questions in relation to any of the items arising from that meeting. Okay, there being nothing. I have a brief report. It's been prepared by Director O'Connell. Staff worked with council and management team on finalizing draft operating and capital budgets for the town and utility. And that was a tremendous piece of work that involved not only all of our senior management team and CAO under the directorship of the CAO, but also all town staff essentially had input as well. They did a fantastic job of bringing a very large compilation of figures and goals and objectives into a document. They also, Director O'Connell also presented the draft budget information to the Finance Committee for their discussion and advice. And as you had mentioned earlier, Your Worship, the draft budget presentation will be held on March 14th at 6:30 p.m. It'll be here at Town Hall, and it'll be open to the public, and we encourage members of the public to attend and provide their input at that time. Also, it will be live streamed, and people will be able to ask questions in real time through, I guess it's an app.
Chat function, yeah.
Yeah. And those will be addressed as they come in. The meeting in its entirety, the draft budget in its entirety rather, will be also posted on the town website, as well as will be a short survey, thank you, short survey for residents to fill out. And we certainly would welcome and encourage people to provide their input. There have been opportunities for public input previous to this, and that input, along with input from the staff and council as a whole, as well as the Finance and Technology Committee, have brought us to the point of the draft budget that we have to be presented tomorrow. There will be an opportunity for evaluation of the input that we receive, either in person tomorrow night or through the survey, prior to a special council meeting of council to pass the budget which will be held on March 28th in 2024 at noon. Staff also attended organizational review meetings and as well as revenue sharing meetings with representatives of the province. Staff met with RBC and the town's group banking, as well with CAO and Deputy CAO and the financial coordinator on updating long-term forecast spreadsheets. And they're very important for mayor and council to do forward planning and essentially see where the costs will bring us month over month and year over year. It's a very difficult and long task, but apparently we have a staff member that works with our director who's very expert with spreadsheets and those calculations, so we're very fortunate in that respect. And staff is working on financial data for the community campus build-out, and as well as working on updating the fees bylaw Schedule A. And they, as usual, they remain busy with day-to-day tasks. So if there's any particular or specific questions or concerns, Your Worship, I'll address them at this time.
Anybody else have any comments or questions? My only comment is, I know it's in the minutes there, but just wondering, you mentioned that there had been meetings with the provincial government about revenue sharing. Have any of those taken place since the meeting of the committee, of the Finance Committee?
I'll have to ask Director O'Connell. There may have been one.
I guess while she's
Since
coming to
then.
the podium, go ahead. I just want to say that I think these are really important, and you know, it's an ongoing issue for all municipalities, but especially for ours in terms of our growth and the needs of our residents, that it's vitally important that we have a new revenue sharing agreement. We haven't had one for 2 years, so and I know there's a good update in the minutes about the fact that there's now being a needs assessment being done to look at the needs of municipalities, and all municipalities are sharing in that needs assessment. But I guess I'm just really interested in finding out if there's anything possible for this year, because it's been 2 years. It's good. We're going on 3 years. It'll be 3 years that we haven't had an agreement, and we're basically stuck at the same levels as we've been for the past. You know, we went from 13 to 13.8 in what is that, in 5 years or something like that. So, and then we haven't moved since that. So anyway,
No, you're right. We're long overdue for an agreement, and it's my understanding that the province has hired or assigned a specific individual to communicate with all of the municipalities and negotiate with the municipalities. And as you mentioned, the PEI Federation of Municipalities is looking at having a joint effort in relation to negotiations, perhaps not with all communities, but with the majority of the communities. And at this point, we're still processing that avenue to see whether we would be included, or whether it would be in our best interest to be included in that single point of joint negotiations, or negotiate on our own. As you can imagine, it's a longer process with each municipality doing their own individual negotiations. But I know staff have been very much on top of this, and from my understanding, and I'll let Dr. O'Connell clarify, but it doesn't appear as though we're going to have an agreement, certainly by within this year, or I shouldn't say within this year, but we certainly didn't have an agreement with which we could provide input on this current budget being proposed as the draft being presented tomorrow. But we're hopeful that there might be some funding that's provided to Stratford that we can help stem some shortfalls that we might otherwise incur, realizing that the current agreement is considerably below what it ought to be.
Thank you.
But I'll let Dr. O'Connell, she'd certainly clarify that more than I can.
Yeah, since the last finance meeting, we did have another revenue sharing meeting, but it basically, there is no new news. It was just to move ahead, will we move forward with getting the needs assessment done? And will we move forward with getting a negotiator to work on the behalf of the municipalities? And then they don't want the full group of FPEIM municipalities to be involved in the working group. So it was just to kind of figure out which communities will be involved. And since then, we've just gotten an email to kind of figure out what times work best for it. Do we want to meet on once a month? And are we interested in being part of that working group? As far as new funds, no, there's been no new mention of any new funds. We had thought that there might have been some up to March 31st, but nothing has been communicated back to us that that is the case. So
I'm sorry, I just missed the start of that. What's going March 31st?
we had hoped that there would have been some retroactive pay.
Oh, yeah.
Put into the budget for us, but we haven't heard from FPEIM that is the case as of yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
so
you.
Don't have any good news there.
No, but it's,
Oh, Jerry might have some news.
Just something to add to that, I did have a meeting with MLA Burridge just this week on Monday, and one of the topics was revenue sharing, and she indicated that she's asked her staff and municipal affairs staff to work on this as quickly as possible and to keep this moving to see if we can get an agreement completed this year, in the upcoming year. So I believe she is on that file and wants to see something
Oh, that's great.
happen there. So
that's good to
just
hear.
wanted to mention that.
Good to hear. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and just for clear, as a point of interest, Your Worship, there will be some discussion around the shortfalls in the revenue sharing agreement in relation to the draft budget tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So I'll
Plus
just
the
leave it
increase
at
in
that for
costs.
now.
I don't know if you want to talk about that now or not. But
Yeah,
something-
I'll leave it at that for now.
Yeah,
and
okay.
It'll be included in the budget in relation to what impact that might have on the community.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, and there's town income statement and town utility income statements are attached, if there's any questions in relation to either of those.
Are they pretty well up to date now? Are they pretty well what you see is the way it's going to be? Yeah.
Okay, be no further question. Oh, sorry, Dr. O'Connell.
In there, it does show that there's a surplus, but you have to take out the government grants because the government grants are used towards the financing of your capital projects. But you have to show it as revenue, just to clarify that.
You say it's showing a surplus. It's showing a deficit, I understand. $1,011% and 0.6%. Is that not correct?
I'm pretty sure it's showing the surplus. Oh.
I'm just not worried about. I'm just thinking about the percentage. Anyway, it's not a negative balance. It's a positive balance. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, no further questions. That'll be my report for this month, Your Worship.
Any other comments or questions?
Just, Councillor Don, the comments for after the budget proceeding tomorrow night, 2 weeks, is it 2 weeks after that? People can send in, not a survey, but their input, right?
Well, yeah, there will be a short survey that will enable people to provide input as to what their direction they feel the town ought to be going in relation to the draft budget.
Yep.
And people can make comments. They can certainly send comments into the town or to councillors as to what their thoughts and feelings are. And the public have had opportunity up to this point to provide input as well. And of course, councillors are in connection with their residents, and they're certainly have been providing input along with staff to this point as well. So there has been opportunity, and there will be opportunity. This is a draft budget. I wouldn't anticipate a tremendous shift, but you know, when we ask for input, we do it sincerely, and that will be taken into consideration with further discussion among council prior to our meeting to ratify the budget. So what we ratify may be the draft budget unchanged, or there may be modifications made to it based on public input.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for your report, Councillor. Okay, we'll now move on to Planning, Development, and Heritage. I'll ask Councillor Jeff McDonald, Chair of that committee, to give his report.
Good evening, everybody. So a lighter month for planning, insofar as we don't have any resolutions for your consideration tonight. Before I begin my planning report, just on a general basis, I'd like to acknowledge the success of some of our representative basketball teams here in Stratford who are going to Charlottetown Rural Senior High School. The ladies AA captured the gold medal last night, and a sincere congratulations to them. And our AAA ladies are tipping off now, I would say, and are forecasted to do quite well, so certainly all the best to them in their endeavors tonight, and certainly all of the ladies who have played in the AA and AAA games from Stratford are excellent representatives of our community, and I wish them the best. So, yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. With that out of the way, yes, Planning Heritage, we don't have any resolutions, but for your consideration this month in planning, we had a discussion about our naming policy. Still in development, still in draft stages, but we are getting close to something that is acceptable for us in Planning and Heritage, and drafts of that policy will certainly be circulated to other relevant committees such as Culture and Recreation, as well as Intergovernmental Affairs, I imagine, as well as Infrastructure for some of their input into it. But we are getting to something where we are going to have a policy that I think works for the entire town and is very forward-looking, and something that more, I would say, people can participate in, whether it's from other committees or whether it's even from applications from interested individuals in the town to put names in for consideration for our street naming. So certainly something that's still in progress, but we're making good progress. Just want to say as well, on the heritage side of things, our heritage subcommittee is looking for more members. We are currently short a few members, and so in certain months, in order to achieve quorum, things are a little lean. So if there are any individuals out there who are listening, or any councillors who are aware of individuals who are looking to serve on one of our subcommittees, I would certainly recommend that they approach our Planning Heritage Department and put their names forward for that subcommittee, as they do very important work for our town. Beyond that, not a lot in terms of planning. Subject to any questions, I know planning staff is very hard at work and diligent on some of our longer term projects that we're looking to bear some fruit later on. But subject to any questions from other councillors on planning as it exists for our March council meeting, I can move on to our building permit summaries. Okay, no, hearing nothing, thank you. So I'll move on to our building permit summaries. We're still very much ahead of the game at the end of February for 2024 versus 2023. Again, as I noted, I believe at our last planning meeting in February, what's been interesting to note the last couple of months into 2023 and then leading into 2024 is how our development value is really coming from on the commercial and institutional side of things rather than the residential, which indicates certainly that our town is experiencing a new form of growth where we're moving from primarily a residential municipality to one which has a strong commercial and institutional identity in and of itself. So certainly very exciting. I think we'll see some discussions at our draft budget presentation tomorrow evening, which reflects some of the changing nature of our town and some of the investments that we're looking to make to further that growth. But subject to any questions, those will be my comments with respect to the building permit summary for this month.
Any questions on the planning report? No, thank you for your report,
Thank you.
Councillor. Okay, we'll now move on to infrastructure. Chair of that committee, infrastructure committee, is Deputy Mayor Steve Gallant. I'll ask him to give his report.
Thank you, Your Worship. We met on February 22nd there as a committee. Large turnout, and tonight's there's our minutes here from March 13th. The solar array for the community campus now is out to tender. Will close on March 20th. The tender package for restoration of Kelly's Pond is being prepared with the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure and is scheduled to be advertised on March 14th with the closing date on April 3rd this year. Work continues on the water reservoir tower, with commissioning expected to be completed within the next month. LED lighting retrofit tender for the town hall complex was awarded to McLean Electric, and they will begin work in the coming weeks. The tender here tonight after the resolution after this memo, the tender for the Corey's Force Main Extension project closed on February 14th with 5 bids submitted. A resolution recommended award of the work to the low bidder. Island Coastal Services Limited is being presented this evening. Infrastructure staff is always busy preparing operating capital budgets for 2024. Source funding for project opportunities, planning upgrades for the reception center resiliency, funding received, preparing tenders for solar projects for the emergency service center and maintenance building on Hollis Avenue, ongoing maintenance at town-owned properties, buildings and trails, sanding, snow removal contracts are ongoing, snow removal around hydrants, lift station, water station, other buildings and facilities. After major snowfall events early this February, rinks were maintained through the month of February, but are now closed. Maintenance and upkeep of vehicles, equipment is ongoing. Bylaw complaints, water and sewer inspections, water turn-ons for new developments is ongoing. Ongoing inspections, maintenance of water and sewer systems. There was a window of good weather allowing some lift stations cleaning and water valve debris removal, which is not typical, complete at this time of year. Managing ongoing customer resident inquiries and concerns, and then during the month of February there was no major incidents or emergencies. There was one water quality complaint that was quickly traced to an appliance within the home, and one sewer lateral blockage that was jetted out by utility. And that's my infrastructure memo there this evening. Any questions on that?
No, it's too bad we weren't able to get more time in our outdoor rinks, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
But
just,
that's just the way of climate change, eh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, climate change, and it's 2 or 3 weeks, but yeah, it's just it is what it is, right?
They were well used when they were available, yeah.
Oh yeah, when the snow was there, and yeah, it was just well used and so on, and the staff did a tremendous job in keeping it going as long as they could. So it's time restraining, but I mean it's work. We get 2 or 3 weeks every year, which is a little disappointing. And of course, if you want to go long term now, you have to look at a $700,000 chiller. I don't think we're
not there
geared
yet,
for that
yeah.
yet. Those days.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Any other comments or questions?
no.
No. If not, you can please move on, proceed with the resolution.
Yeah, I'll just move the resolution number INC 001-2024 supplemental capital budget for reception center. Moved by myself, whereas in 2023 town capital budget includes $38,600 for capital upgrades to the building at Cotton Park at 57 Bunbury Road. And whereas it's $38,600 capital budget, the town's portion was $19,300. The remaining $19,300 was anticipated through a funding partnership. Whereas the town successfully applied to and received funding through a COAS Hurricane Fiona Recovery Fund in the amount of $144,502, and through the Province Reception Center Resiliency Fund in the amount of $130,000. whereas the Reception Center Resiliency Fund requires a contribution from the town in the amount of $29,876, necessitating an increase of $10,576 to the town's contribution. And whereas both funds provide capital for the reception center improvements that will be completed at the Town Hall building in Cotton Park, including the original upgrades planned for Cotton Park. Being it resolved that a supplementary capital town budget of $304,378 be approved for the reception center improvements to the Town Hall building and Cotton Park, and the town's portion of this funding shall be $29,876. This resolution bears a recommendation of the Infrastructure Committee as discussed at a meeting held on February 22nd, 2024.
Okay, we have a seconder.
I'd second it.
Councilor McDonald, thank you. Okay, so this will allow us to better respond to any emergencies or anything that might happen in the future where emergency reception center is required.
Yes, that's it. And our part is $29,876 portion of the funding, right?
But it's a over $300,000 upgrade.
Yes, we're getting contribution from COLA and resiliency fund of 144 and 130, yeah, the 274, yeah, 275, yeah.
Sounds like a
Yeah.
good investment.
It's a good investment, yeah.
Yeah. Any comments or questions?
I just have a question. So, not that it matters, but just so I get a good sense of exactly what this is going to look like. What is this going to result in the end in terms of what improvements are going to be made, if that makes sense? I not to say I'm against it. I just looking for a bit more information is all.
Yep.
Yeah.
No problem.
It's hesitant to move this. No, great question, and it's a little, I know it's a little bit much to wrap your head around as you read through it without having a lot of background information that we have here, of course, but the fund kind of popped up and kind of took us off guard back in November, I believe, late November, but obviously something that we thought we wanted to take, grab opportunity for. There were some things that popped up during Fiona that we recognized as maybe challenges that we would love to improve on, so this funding was able to provide us with that. So some of the major things that we have put under this funding, right down at the Cotton Park property, we are installing heat pumps. We're actually installing generators at both the Robert Cotton building and the Gertrude Cotton building. So the idea there is to be able to use that as a reception center. So we're accommodating better usage of the space for those weather conditions that we make it. Here at Town Hall, we are renovating these shower stalls. That was something that was recognized while we were open as a reception center during Fiona. Obviously, the showers were well used, but we recognize that they don't provide privacy to get undressed and use the shower. It's basically an open room. So we are going to do some renovations to basically close those in and provide that space to be able to dress and undress and be in the shower space without being exposed to everybody who may be using the facilities. We're going to be installing more outlets and charging stations throughout the building. There's a renovation in the kitchen for ventilation. So quite a few things. One of the bigger things is actually radios as well, because cell phone use was pretty minimal throughout Fiona, and so we are investing in some radios that will work off of the province's PICs. I don't know a lot about it, but it's a very resilient system. Fire departments use them. Most of the emergency services use them. So we are going to have, I think, 5 of those on hand as well to be able to use.
Great.
Yeah, so it's great. It's a significant increase in the capital for very little increase in the town's portion. So.
Yeah, and I know the kitchen renovations have been a long time. We've been discussing that for a long time. It's nice to see that finally moving ahead. Just wondering if that's going to have any impact on the lunch program, or it's going to be done during summer months, or?
We're working around. So the lunch program is essentially just in the mornings, and the space is vacant for the afternoon. Yeah, so we're working around that. Some other work we're doing in the building on the lighting retrofit is going to require power being turned off in some areas as well, so that contractor has to work around the school program in the kitchen space as well.
And will there be any work done on the roof? I noticed in the fitness area there's still some leaks.
Not through this, but that is definitely something we're investigating to have prepared. Yeah.
Oh, but it's not part of this upgrade?
No.
Okay. Excuse me. Thank you. Okay, we've got a moved and seconded resolution on the floor. Any other comments or questions? Okay, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Motion carried. Okay, you have another resolution, Deputy Mayor?
Yes, resolution number INC 002, 2024, Corey's Force Main Extension, moved by myself. Whereas the sewage lift station upgrades of Phase 2 project, now referred as Corey's Force Main Extension, with an estimated cost of $3,040,000 was approved in 2023, contingent on 50% funding with expectation of costs being incurred over 2 fiscal years, with $1,540,000 approved in the 2023 capital budget and $1,540,000 approved in the 2024 capital budget. Whereas funding through the municipal strategic component of Canada's Community Building Fund in the amount of $1,115,143.84 is maintained, whereas no construction work begun in 2023 and capital budget of $2,900,000 is being carried forward and included in the 2024 draft budget. And whereas 5 tenders were received on February 14th, 2024 for the project consisting of installation of sewer force main with from Flourish Heights in the McKinnon Drive along Kinlock Road, and the upgrade of the gravity trunk main along McKinnon Drive to Purley Drive, which results as follows. The contractor bidding excluding HST was Island Coastal Service, $2,688,655. Burton McKay, Backhaul Services Limited, $3,694,230.75. LCL Excavation 2006 Incorporated, $3,994,740. Landmark Construction, $4,336,655. Birchill Construction Limited, $6,671,900. And whereas the engineering construction management inspection fee is estimated to be $71,530, excluding HST, for an estimated project total of $2,760,185, excluding HST. Being it resolved, the Corey's Force Main Extension project be awarded to Island Coastal Services Limited in the amount of $2,688,655, HST excluded. This resolution bears a recommendation of the Infrastructure Committee as discussed at a meeting held on February 22nd, 2024.
Okay, do I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Thank you, Councillor. Okay, seconded
I
by...
can.
Yeah, no, you can. Thanks, Councillor Cox. Okay, any discussion?
Quick comment.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
We look at the numbers.
Oh, go ahead,
Yeah,
Councilor.
well, just a quick comment, Your Worship. I think the tremendous disparity amongst the bids shows the importance of due diligence through the tendering process in order to gain the best value for our residents that we possibly can. And it's rare that you see such a large disparity between bids, but kudos to staff for going through that process as is required. But I think residents can gain more confidence in knowing that when we do major projects, it's done with the greatest consideration that we possibly can do to get the best value we can.
Yep, thank you. Councillor?
I just have I don't know if I'm on or not. I have no idea. I don't see any lights. I just have a process question. So I appreciate that this resolution is with respect to the tender to do the work. Now, when the $71,530 that's estimated for the engineering, construction, management, and inspection fee is dealt with, so what I understand is that's not necessarily included in this resolution, and if it's not, when is that dealt with, or is that just dealt with in the usual course in budget?
So that has already been dealt with.
Okay.
That was part of the design services that we would have gone through the RFP process for to engage a consultant.
Okay.
And we had already gone through that process and got that awarded to them.
Okay.
So that has been done. This value is to oversee the construction.
Right.
So we include that in the total project cost, basically as a construction value.
Okay.
Yes. The resolution is to award the contract for the work to be done to Island Coastal. Just summarizing the total value so that you understand what budget we have allowed for and what the
Okay.
big picture will look like when we include the engineering that will take place during the construction.
Right. And that's already been
That's
awarded.
already been awarded, yes.
Yeah. Was that part of the initial resolution that we talked about in 2023? Or was that just out of committee?
It would have been a 2023, I'm trying to remember what month we awarded that work.
I think
It would have been a
November, maybe?
2023 resolution.
Last fall, yeah.
It was, I
Yes.
thought November. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yes,
Yeah, I
okay.
just wanted to see what that was, when we did that. Thank you.
I just had one question, more for educational purposes, and for anybody who may be watching. When we have this sort of range in the bids, we do go back to the bidders to make sure that there was no scope of work missed. Just when I see, like, it's so significant in the top, in the winning bid and the last bid.
Yes, there is quite a difference when you look at the low and the high. That's not normally what we're concerned with. What we generally make sure the bidder is on par with the scope of work is when it comes in significantly under what we would have estimated the job to be. In this case, it's hard to say. There's always variables out there as to why the prices will be all over the map like that. Some people may be hungrier to fill up their work schedule. Some may have a lot of work on and just want to put a bid in but really don't want the work. We were happy to get 5 bids because that's kind of rare these days. We're sort of pulling teeth to get bids. So no, we don't go out and say, well, why were you that high? Why were you this low? I can say that our low bid that we're recommending is pretty on par with where we thought it would come in, so we're not concerned that they have missed something or that kind of thing.
Thank you. Councillor Cox, any comments?
No, my audio is kicking in better, so I felt the same as Ron. I thought that there was quite a discrepancy between the top and the bottom. I mean, not triple, but it seemed to be, more than double, obviously. And I appreciate you, Jeannie, explaining that. I didn't know that a little bit of that process that is done when such things happen. So it's nice to have that clarity. I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, we got a moved and seconded motion. I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Anyone against? No? Unanimous. Thank you. Carried. Thank you. Okay. Thank you for your report. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. So we'll now move on to Committee of the Whole, and I'm going to ask the Vice Chair of the Intergovernmental Affairs Committee to read the first resolution, the Deputy Mayor to read the second resolution, and Councillor Cox, I'm going to ask you to read the third resolution, if you can, if you would.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll start with the first resolution. So I'll ask Councillor Jody Jackson, Vice Chair of Intergovernmental Affairs, to read that.
Thank you, Your Worship. Let me get situated here. Oh, so this is resolution number CW 004-2024, Code of Conduct bylaw number 54, second reading. Coming from the Committee of the Whole, moved by myself, Councillor Jackson. Whereas Municipal Government Act, MGA, provides municipalities with additional authority and autonomy, together with additional accountability via requirement that actions be enabled by bylaws, and whereas a bylaw is required to set the minimum expectations for the behavior of members of council in carrying out their functions and decision-making that benefits the town of Stratford, and whereas the Code of Conduct bylaw number 46 is outdated and needs to be replaced, be it resolved that the attached Code of Conduct bylaw number 54, be hereby read and approved a second time.
Okay, do you have a seconder? Thank you. Councillor McDonald, thank you. Okay, any comments or questions? We had a discussion about this at our last council meeting. Any further comments or questions? Okay, call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? No? Unanimous? Motion carried. Okay, we'll now move to the second resolution, and I'll ask Deputy Mayor Gallant to read that, to move that motion.
Town of Stratford Resolution number CW005-2024, Code of Conduct Bylaw number 54, adoption. Movement by myself. Whereas Council read and approved the Code of Conduct Bylaw number 54 the first time on February 14, 2024. And whereas Council read and approved the Code of Conduct Bylaw number 54 a second time on March 13, 2024, being resolved that detached Code of Conduct Bylaw number 54 be hereby adopted, and that the Mayor and the Chief Administrative Officer be authorized to affix their signatures and the corporate seal of the town thereto, and to be formally declared the said bylaw passed. Be it further resolved that the existing Code of Conduct Bylaw number 46 be hereby repealed.
Okay, do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Okay, discussion? Any further discussion?
So this is one bylaw, what's 46 is repealed, this is taken over from 46?
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
the new Code of Conduct bylaw, yeah.
Okay.
Replaces-
This through the MGA?
This is, yeah, it's based on the MGA
Yeah.
requirements, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just updating ours to conform with the MGA and
Yep.
customize it. I guess we've got our own Code of Conduct bylaw now.
Oh, okay.
All right, got a moved and seconded motion. I believe we got a seconder.
Yep.
Yeah. No comments or questions. We'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, Councillor Cox, would you read the third Sustainable Procurement Policy Amendments Resolution? You're muted.
Turn around. Still muted.
There you
How are we
go.
doing now?
There you go.
Okay, 1 second here. Sorry for the delay. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right. Start here. All right. This is resolution number CW006-2024, Sustainable Procurement Policy Amendment. It was from the Committee Finance and Technology and was moved by Councillor Ron Dowling.
I'm sorry.
Whereas the Sustainability Procurement Policy, policy number 2016-FT-01, was recently reviewed. It was determined that inflation, since the adoption of this policy, and our own procurement experiences, indicate the need to increase procurement thresholds. Therefore, be it resolved that the attached Sustainable Procurement Policy Amendments be hereby approved.
Okay, do I have a seconder? This resolution, I believe we did recommend it at Committee of the Whole. Yep, they're right at the bottom there.
Yes. Yeah, resolution bears recommendation of the Committee of the Whole at a meeting held on February 28, 2024.
Okay, and maybe I erred a little bit there. I should have asked Councillor Dowling as the Chair of the Finance and Technology Committee to move it, but at the same time, it is sustainable, and as Chair of Sustainability, that's why I asked Councillor Cox to move it. So I'll ask maybe Councillor Dowling to second the motion, if you would. Thank you. Okay, any discussion or comments on the Sustainable Procurement Policy? Okay, call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Anyone against? Motion carried. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor. Okay, and we'll now move to the Sustainability Report, and that's Councillor Cox is the Chair of that committee, Sustainability Committee. I'll ask him to provide the Sustainability Report.
Thank you, Worship. Can everybody hear me okay there?
Yep.
That's fine. I'd like to begin by welcoming Cadet to the town of Stratford team. She'll be filling in Maddie's maternity leave and has jumped right into the position since starting only a couple weeks ago. And I must say, is doing a wonderful job. So welcome to our team here in Stratford. The Sustainability Committee held their most recent meeting on February 7th, as reported in last month's council meeting. The committee is united in its efforts to get creative policies and bylaws in place, especially when it comes to the area of new developments. There are several projects underway by the staff that relate to sustainability, including Water Pool, aka Water School, is running this month for 3 weeks. All indications are that, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. All indications that it is another successful learning opportunity for participants, students, and enjoyable time for staff leading in. The new initiative, Coastal Watershed Model, was added this year by the Stratford Area Watershed Group with funding through the PEI Wildlife Conservation Fund. The residential tree planting program remains open with applicants accepted until March 31st, thus closing fairly soon, with the goal of helping residents access low-cost, good-quality native tree species, encouraging residents to not only have a species of a tree that they picked out implemented in their yard, but also gain even more appreciation for the urban forest. We like our residents to help out. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay. We'd like our residents to help out in increasing our Stratford tree canopy, quickly along streets and enhance urban forest in Stratford, especially after Hurricane Fiona. We definitely need that. Once again, it's a joint venture between residents and town staff. The residents, they make the hole in their yard, and our staff comes over and brings the tree and puts the tree in the hole. And they will receive a 5 to 7-year-old tree, and the cost is only $50. So I got that myself last year, and I put my name in already for this year again. So I think it's a really worthwhile program. The Stratford Town Talk, the podcast recently launched with new episodes every 2 weeks. The next episode will be out on March 15th, and is available on all major podcast platforms. As this is a brand new endeavor, the town is looking for feedback from residents as to what they want to hear, more or less of improvements and other feedback from listeners. And I must add that Adam Ramsey is an excellent host, and I encourage everyone to check out this really good podcast, and very necessary, obviously, in this day and age. And I commend Wendy Watts for all her hard work behind the scenes, and half the town staff, and to get this up and running, and so thank you, Wendy, for your work on this. There remains a limited amount of funding for house energy audits through the Switch Stratford project. These will be ending in the near future, so any interest residents should, any interest from residents, they should contact the Switch Stratford team right away before that program closes. The Diversity and Inclusion Subcommittee continues to work on a number of projects, planning for upcoming events. A series of virtual presentations through a partnership of the Canadian Museum of Immigration at Pier 21 will be taking place this spring. Staff are looking to provide some opportunities this spring to the local business community for learning and networking. Further details will be provided in the near future. And we look forward to having our commercial sector remain an active group with our community. Sustainability as it relates to businesses is very much a key concentration for the town of Stratford. Personally, I think some light businesses in 2024 are struggling a bit to confront the limits of a non-wasteful and resource-intensive business model. We as a staff must help these new or established businesses, obviously, as they learn to re-image their consumption in their office space, and with the expectations of an updated sustainable business practice. If businesses work to apply their aspirational goals, we have to help them understand the sustainable measures will not derail their overall mission statements, but will make these goals much more affordable and attainable and actionable. To sum up what I'm saying here, I went on a quote in the Rainforest Alliance which said sustainability is more than a buzzword, it's a business imperative. The world is facing environmental and social crises, and consumers are demanding that companies take responsibility and action. For companies to stay competitive and relevant, they need to commit to sustainability. Our sustainability committee has done a lot of work as far as looking at deforestation and reforestation, green space, etc. But we are going to start giving a lot more concentration to sustainability as it applies to the business sector here in Stratford. And that is my report.
Thank you, Councillor. Any comments or questions on Councillor Cox's report? No, great report. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 16, Intergovernmental Affairs and Accountability. I chair that committee, vice chaired by Councillor Jackson, and we do have a couple of resolutions. We didn't have a meeting this past month. We will be meeting later this month. And so I'll ask Councillor Jackson to move those resolutions as vice chair.
Thank you, Your Worship. Town of Stratford Resolution IAA 001-2024, text amendments to social media policy, non-municipal messages. Moved by myself, whereas several text amendments have been identified to update and streamline the use of the Town of Stratford's social media policy for non-municipal messaging, and whereas it has been noted that clarity in the policy was needed, be it resolved that the attached social media policy amendments, non-municipal messages be hereby approved. And this resolution bears a recommendation of the Intergovernmental Affairs and Accountability Committee held on January 25th, 2024, and the Committee of the Whole as discussed at a meeting held on February 28th, 2024. So moved.
Do I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Oh, sorry, I think Councillor Dowling got there just before you, Councillor Cox, so thanks, thank you. Okay, we got a moved and seconded motion. Any comments or questions?
Just a minor changes to this, just for clarity. Just one section there, talking about events or activities which are for monetary gain by organizations, institutions, or other groups. So we're just providing the parameters for when we will promote non-municipal messages. So just very minor tweaks to the policy, Your Worship.
Yeah. Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone against? Motion carried, unanimous. Okay, and we have a second resolution.
Yep. Town of Stratford Resolution IAA 002-2024, text amendments to digital sign policy. Moved by myself, whereas several text amendments have been identified to streamline the use of the Town of Stratford's digital sign, and whereas it has been noted that as the Town of Stratford continues to grow and offer more programs and services, it has an ever-increasing amount of information to share with residents to keep them informed. And whereas there is only an average of 1 to 2 views per pass of the digital sign, that the sign be prioritized for the town's use only. Be it resolved that the attached digital sign policy amendments be hereby approved. This resolution bears a recommendation of the Intergovernmental Affairs and Accountability Committee meeting held on January 25th, 2024, and the Committee of the Whole as discussed at a meeting held on February 28th, 2024. So moved.
Seconder?
I'll second.
Okay, Councillor Cox, thank you. Okay, any comments or questions?
Just to clarify this, Your Worship, this is just to kind of reinforce the idea that we have a significant amount of events and activities that we can promote on our sign, and that is what our focus will be. If there are events or activities that are not Town of Stratford, but that we are working with a group on, we will use our social media to promote that. But the town sign is going to be held strictly for town activities.
Any other comments or questions?
Just one comment. I believe that when the sign was initially installed, that was its specific purpose, was to allow residents to have a quick view of issues relative specific to the town. As the community grows and more people want to advertise, I think we're getting to the point where we're providing a service outside of its original intent to some, but out of inability, perhaps not to others. So I think it's a good move to get back specific to town issues.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? If not, call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carried, unanimous. Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Jackson. Okay, now we're item 17, inquiries by members of council. Any inquiries about the town that anyone would like to make at this point? Anything we've not on the agenda or not related to any other issue or question? If not, we'll move to other committees and the Stratford Seniors Complex. I'll ask Deputy Mayor Gallant to give the seniors report.
Senior member Glenn. Anyways, today's report, here are a few items that we're working on. Unit 10 has been rented and a new tenant will be moving in this month. Unit 13 is available for rent, and we have gone through our waiting list and are down to the last 2 people on the list. If they're not interested, we will need to put it on our social media that the unit is available. Many on the list refused a unit. Some did not want to move in this winter. They're not ready to move in from where they currently are, and some found the unit too small. Capital work is planned for 2024. Kitchen cabinets will be arriving soon. Trying to find a place to store them until the work can be completed. We have been dealing with a few water leaks in the complex that tends to happen in the winter with the change in temperatures. We would get a quote in place in the original water lines in the building. And Carol Ferguson has been appointed to the senior liaison representative for the seniors committee and year-end working paper. And I believe with the, I think we went through our list, Kim, and we're probably going to advertise. We're looking for somebody through our waiting list there, so there's no wait list as this moment, so we're be looking for one person to rent the facility. So if we can, we'll probably mention it, well, it's online here tonight or on video or audio, and but I mean, just somebody to reach out and contact the town of Stratford, I guess, Kim, yourself or Wendy or something, yeah.
Is it a single unit or a double unit? Could a couple move in, or is it for a single person?
The single?
Single, okay.
Yeah, it's a brand new renovated, it's
okay, thank you.
Yeah, so, yeah, so.
Yeah, so if there's someone out there that needs, qualifies for low-income housing.
A lot of people on our list had animals, and we're now letting, unless it's just disability, no problem with animals, so there's no animals, cats and dogs and so on. Okay. So a lot of people had animals. Yeah. And it's not open the door there for that. It's in our list there, so.
Okay.
So is that something we'd put on our town sign?
Yeah, they could put it on our town sign.
You know,
put it on our town sign.
I think they're doing it through social media right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, saying it's a low for low income, and it's very useful, and it's very hopefully somebody will.
Somebody needs it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Just one comment, Your Worship, and I think it's important to note that we had a list of 15 people, and the fact that we went through that list and those 15 people for one reason or another couldn't avail themselves of that unit at this time doesn't diminish the overall need for such housing within the community.
That's
and
right.
I'm sure
Absolutely.
that when we put it out in social media, we'll quickly get a high number of responses in relation to that as well. So, it's something for all of us to keep in mind is in future planning that this is not representative of a lack of need in the community.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good point.
Good comments, Councillor Yelmy.
Okay, any other comments or questions? If not, thanks for your report. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, any appointments to committees? No appointments to committees. No proclamations. Any other business anyone would like to bring to the floor at this time? If not, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. So moved. Councillor Gouin.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy.